Betsy's working her magic over there. Please stand by.
That's why she's wearing that top hat.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. And we're live and in color. Isn't that what it used to be? Live and in color. All right. I will call to order the town meeting. Can I have nominations from the floor for a moderator?
I nominate Nancy Clark. I second.
Made and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, Nancy Clark is the moderator. There's a green button. Congratulations, you own this whole place. You've taken control. There. Is it green? Trust it.
Okay.
There.
Town clerk, can you read the warning of the meeting?
It's a long one. Okay. In accordance with the provisions of Section 702E and 901 of the Southbury Town Charter, notice is hereby given that the annual town meeting will be held at 7 p.m. April 17th in room 205 of Town Hall, 501 Main Street, Southbury. The agenda will be discussion only of the 2025-2026 proposed municipal budget. 2, resolution to extend the hours of voting of the referendum from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. The vote on the proposed municipal budget will be by referendum in accordance with Section 702E of the Southbury Town Charter. The referendum will be held on May 7th, 2025 at Main Street South Firehouse, 461 Main Street South, Southbury. The hours of voting will be from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. The question will be, shall the town of Southbury appropriate $24,426,644 for the municipal budget and approve the special revenue fund appropriations for the fiscal year July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026? Yes or no? Absentee ballots are available at the town clerk's office, Southbury Town Hall, 501 Main Street South, Southbury. Registered electors of the town of Southbury or United States citizens who are 18 years or older, owning taxable property assessed at $1,000 or more on the October 1st, 2024 grand list are eligible to vote in the referendum. Dated Southbury, Connecticut, this 17th day of April, 2025. Board of Selectmen, Jeff Manville, First Selectman. Town Clerk, Alice A. Masano.
I ask for the resolution to be read by the first selectman.
Resolved that the Southbury Board of Selectmen, in accordance with Section 901 of the Town of Southbury Charter, hereby schedule the annual town meeting for Thursday, April 17th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in room 205 in Town Hall.
Is there a second?
Wait, is that the one?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Okay, sorry, wrong one, sorry. Resolved that this town meeting hereby approves extending the voting hours to 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the budget referendum to be held on Wednesday, May 7th, 2025 at the Center Firehouse, Main Street South, Southbury.
Is there a second?
Second.
Would anyone want to, does anyone want to speak for or against the motion? Anyone would like to speak for or against the motion? Okay. Are there any comments from the floor? Okay. So I ask for an adjournment to the meeting or a motion to adjourn.
No, we have to vote.
Oh, you have to vote? That's not in here. Oh, yeah, the moderator asked for a vote. I skipped that piece. Yes,
You get to call the vote on the motion.
okay. Can we have a vote?
You've got to
Is
say
that-
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
All opposed? Abstain. All abstain? Anyone abstain?
No
Is that
one's
what I'm saying?
opposed or abstained.
Okay, good, great, okay. So I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Great, okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And we're
All
adjourned.
all abstained? Motion carried?
It's not as easy as it looks, is it?
No, it isn't, you guys.
But I think you got us.
I laid little cue cards here. Great, you made me nervous.
We've all been nervous.
It's adjourned at 7:05.
Very good. Okay. I will call the Southbury Board of Selectmen regular meeting, April 17th, 2025, to order at 7:06 PM. Can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, I'd like to mention that we will not be joined by Selectman Sullivan tonight. I understand we're being joined remotely by, and he has not joined yet. So for the record, we still have a quorum of Board of Selectmen in attendance. So next up, I will say, we are looking for public comment. Is there any public comment? Please feel free to come up, make sure the green button's on to make a public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? That's two, going. So one for the third and final time. Is there any public comment? Being no public comment, we're on to our announcements and correspondence.
Jeff, prior to that, I'd like to make a motion to add the Economic Development Director position to our next Board of Selectmen agenda during executive session. I did listen to the Finance Commission and the public outcry and the commissioners that spoke on his behalf. And I'd like to invite also the Chair of Finance and the Vice Chair to that executive session if they'd like to attend.
They're not here.
Next Board of Selectmen meeting is the motion.
I'll second that.
So Justin Betty's on the line, just for the record?
Yes,
He has-
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Justin. Before, when we first got here, we didn't have you online. So just for the record, Justin Betty is online in the meeting. Selectman Sullivan is not, just so for the record. So,
Mr. First Selectman, can I ask the Selectman to restate the motion, just so I understand it?
please.
Yes, I'd like to add,
Is you're on? Okay, so we can hear.
the motion is to add the Economic Director position to the agenda under executive session for our next Board of Selectmen meeting. Listening to the
So,
Finance
so
Commission
we have
meeting.
to add, I think what you're looking to do is, you're looking to add,
I'd like to add to our agenda for our
A
next Board of
discussion.
Selectmen meeting,
okay,
a discussion with the Economic Director in executive session, along with the Vice Chair and Chair of the Finance Commission. And I'd like to do it in executive session because I recognize the people that spoke for him and the value that his position has in the town. And I think it
okay,
should be
all
done in
right,
executive
so
session.
we don't need to go into that deep into the discussion. We're not supposed to. So the motion is to ask for an executive session at the next Board of Selectmen's meeting to discuss and invite the Economic Development Director?
Yes. I'll state it again. I'd like to make a motion to add the Economic Development Director position to the agenda on our next Board of Selectmen meeting during executive session.
So
And-
if we're
and
going
to
to,
have the Economic Director within that discussion, along with the Board of Finance Chair and Vice Chair.
So, just so I understand, so we have a motion and a second on that. So we're in discussion now?
yes, I would say, I'm not sure what the motion,
If I could,
go ahead. Jake.
I think I like the intent of your motion. I'm not too sure that right now is the proper time to make it, and I'm not too sure if it's worded correctly. There's only very specific reasons you can go into executive session for the performance evaluation, things like that. So, not
This
being
entire
100%
discussion
sure.
about the,
Go ahead, Justin.
go ahead, finish. This
Well,
entire
let
discussion
Jason-
about the economic,
Let Jason Van Stone finish.
So,
oh, sure.
So to Justin's point, if the purpose is to go into executive session for the discussion of the performance evaluation of the economic development director, that itself might be an okay motion. To then invite other people into that who aren't necessarily a supervisor, things like that, and I'm not too sure if that takes it out of order.
Well, okay, if we don't want to invite the chair and vice chair of the Finance Commission, I'm fine with that. I just don't understand how his position was eliminated by that commission. As far as the charter goes,
So
the way
there's
I
a
read the
motion
charter.
So, number one, I would have to get our attorney to opine on, our labor attorney to opine on this, as far as inviting people in to an executive session. If, you also have to understand, the person you're inviting, you're going to be discussing, has the right to have that done in public or in private. It's their call.
May I?
So they would have to agree to have it done in executive session.
May I?
Go ahead.
So I was at that,
Wait a minute, I'm sorry.
we're in discussion, aren't we?
Yeah, but I had told Justin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Justin
I
can
told
go.
Justin
Yes,
Betty
please.
that I would recognize him next after Jason, so just so I don't disrespect that. Justin, go ahead.
It's my opinion that this entire discussion should have started in executive session a couple weeks ago. And I'd like to see us do it now, and if Kevin would like to do it publicly, I don't have a problem with that either. But I understand that at Monday's meeting, the Board of Finance somewhat punted it back to us and said, you know, if you can find a path to get this, that, or the other done, you can take the money out of unassigned funds or something to pay the guy. But again, all this stuff, including the finance chair's discussion about this position, should have started in executive session, in my opinion, because it is about somebody's job performance. And those quotes are now in the newspaper. I think it's pretty shameful.
May I?
Ann?
So at Monday's meeting, I was sitting right over there, the discussion was had regarding whether the budget should be not cut.
Point
If
of
you
order,
watched
we're outside the motion.
Yeah.
I understand what you're
No,
saying.
no, but I'm just trying to get
So-
to somewhere. So the final vote was that the budget was gonna stay the way it was with a caveat, if I'm wrong, you can correct me, but that by July 1st, there would be a plan in place and the money would be allocated in another fund. Am I wrong?
So,
So that was already, that whole discussion was done and a plan needs to be made.
I'm going to renew my point of order. We're
yeah,
outside the motion.
so we're gonna go back to the original motion that's made and seconded up for discussion, which I would have to get an opinion from our attorneys about how that would be done. In general, if there is a performance discussion by the Board of Selectmen, we would call for an executive session and state the reasons why we're going into executive session. And we, frankly, technically, I'm talking technical terms, technically, we do not have to invite a person being discussed into the meeting or anyone else. So I would say this motion is probably not in order to create that agenda item.
There was a motion and there was a second.
There
For
was.
discussion.
And we had a discussion.
So, if I could, Mr. First Selectman,
Yep.
if we can get to where you want to go, Tim, but not have this motion, which I think there's a very easy path, we haven't presented next meeting's agenda. If we could get to that spot without doing this murky, I think what's quasi-legal motion, would you be generally favorable of that outcome?
I would definitely be favorable to that. I just don't understand how the Board of Finance can cut a position of a town employee.
Well, that's not the motion on the floor.
It's the
So
discussion that
you-
we're having
you-
now.
You can look at the charter and understand that the charter gives the final decision on the town budget.
The charter states that the first selectman hires and fires.
So-
Point of order, again,
Point
we're
of
way
order.
off.
We're not here to discuss that. We're talking about how the budgets are developed and this particular, what you're discussing here and what the motion is. So I would have a very difficult time voting on this particular motion because without the advice of our attorney.
I'd be fine with the opinion of the attorney.
So, Justin, would you withdraw your second, and then Tim withdraw your first, and we'll just go down that path?
I'm all for it. Justin?
Sure.
So
Justin?
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, motion is withdrawn. Justin, are you withdrawing your second?
He said sure, yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
I will
First Selectman?
withdraw it.
What's that?
He withdrew it.
Okay,
I will withdraw it, yep.
okay.
Mr.
So the
First
motion-
Selectman, can I add the word, it's been withdrawn.
Withdraw. Okay, I'm right. Would you like to make are you making a motion?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I'd
Go
like
ahead.
to make a motion to add to this agenda a discussion on the action plan referenced from the Board of Finance at their previous meeting in what that means and how we would tackle
I
that.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion to add to the agenda under new business, a discussion on the recommendation of the Board of Finance for an action plan dealing with the position of Economic Development Director. Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on that motion? Jason, sorry.
I'm good.
Jason, Justin, Jeff, and, I'm sorry. Justin, do you have any discussion on that motion to add to the agenda?
No, happy to vote for it.
Okay. Anything else? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, and any opposed? And it carries. Okay. Wow, I need a drink of water here. All right. Announcements and correspondence you have in front of you. You have your reports. Consent agenda. Do I have motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. First Selectman, I'd like to remove an item from the consent agenda.
And
Is
what would, that motion to remove what?
I'd like to remove item 4.
Item 4?
I don't know when that was added. It was added yesterday.
That's fine. Item 4,
The
and move
referral
it-
from land use regarding 34 Lakemere Drive.
do I have a second on
I'd
that?
second that.
Made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to remove from the consent agenda, line item 4, referral from land use, and you do that as, I would take that as the number 2 on the new business. Is that okay? Any discussion?
What's number 1?
The action plan.
Action plan. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And no one's opposed. So with that removed, do I have a vote, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda
So moved.
As amended.
as amended?
Yes.
Made and seconded?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anybody,
Aye.
you're an aye there, Justin?
Yes, aye.
Thank you. Just want to make sure we get you on the record. Thank you. And it is approved. Minutes of April 3rd, 2025, regular meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Thank you, Tim. Any discussion on that, the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. A little delay there, but that's okay. And that passes. We have no unfinished business. Under new business, we'll start out with the action plan. Jason?
Thank you, Ms. First Selectman. So, for those of you who maybe didn't go to the Board of Finance meeting or catch the news at their most recent meeting, they did two things, and Ann alluded to it a little bit earlier. They approved the budget that they wanted to approve, the one we talked about in the town meeting. They also said that they would look favorably on reconstituting the position at its previous level of economic development director if a number of stakeholders could come together on an action plan for essentially the goals of that position. It would come before us that we would have to approve. They were looking for input also from the EDC and maybe some of the land use boards. So not having been given much more direction than that, I think it's incumbent upon us to, I think as Justin had mentioned a little bit earlier, kind of take this process back. I think it should have been born here, and I think it should remain here. So I think I appreciate the Board of Finance's opportunity to kind of take this back. So part of this action plan, I believe, and obviously that's what the discussion is, to have some metrics from what we want. It's tough to judge someone without giving them the goals we want. So, and one piece I missed out, there's a July 1st deadline for this action plan. Obviously, I don't think it needs to be incredibly detailed, in the next month and a half, but at least the first step. So I would ask the first selectman, and I imagine we could call it whatever you want, a blue ribbon panel, a task force, whatever you want to call it, create a working group to begin putting this action plan together. I know, well, I would imagine you've been thinking about this already and might have a list of people in your head already. But I think it would be good to start that process now, since we're a little bit behind the clock already as it is.
So I'm not sure procedurally whether we should make a motion and second and then discuss, but I think we're just in the discussion stage. We'll come up with some kind of a motion here as we go forward. I'd like to see a working group, task force, we can call it a task force by the Board of Selectmen. I would like to see a member from both sides of the aisle from the Board of Selectmen. Frankly, I'd like to see Justin Betty on a committee, on this task force.
Happy to assist.
You could do it, Justin?
Happy to assist, yes, thank you.
I kind of put you out there, and I was pretty sure that you would be willing to do this, and I appreciate that. I also think from my perspective, I should be on this task force with this group. I believe the task force should include the the EDC chair. Yeah, if he will. I also think that we may want someone from the Chamber of Commerce. My thought process would be Southbury Chamber. Would be Charlie. I think he's
I believe he's head, Charlie Burge, I believe, is the head of it, so we could start with him, and if,
Or his designee, right?
yeah, if him or his designee, if for some reason he doesn't think he can make the meetings, if he could designate someone from the chamber, I think it would be important to have their voice there.
I'm open to other thoughts of, no, I just want to caution, we want to be careful. No task force goes well if there's 100 people on it. But is there any thoughts about, Justin, do you have any other thoughts on,
Should the director be part of it?
the what? Yeah, yes, the Director of Economic Development. Should be on it. And my only other question, should we ask the Chair of the Board of Finance to consider a member of the Board of Finance's liaison on that?
So the board chair or his designee type, same thing?
Board, yeah, the Chairman of the Board of, thank you for writing this down, because then you can read that back to me.
Sure.
The thought process, I do appreciate it.
I will forget it if I don't.
So someone from the Board of Finance?
Asking the chair to designate someone from the, or himself or someone from the Board of Finance to be part of the task force, because eventually, they're requesting that they would be part of it.
So, Mr. First, that would give us 6 members as currently constituted.
I think that's more than enough, 6 members. Does anybody have, Justin, do you have any thoughts on that?
It sounds like a pretty good group of people, and I agree that once you get too much above 6, you're too big. So
Okay. So we could make a motion, or to make I would entertain a motion to create the Board of Selectmen create a task force with 6 members. Bet you got writing this down? To include Justin Betty from the Board of Selectmen, the first selectman, the chair of the Economic Development Commission, a member of the Southbury Chamber of Commerce, at the request, at the, the
Yep. Economic Development Director.
Economic Development Director.
My handwriting's terrible, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay, you could have been a doctor. And the chair of a Board of Finance or his designee. That would be the motion that I would make.
Can we define what this task force end goal is? I mean, I think that is going to be the action item matrix that we're looking for him to accomplish.
Right, that's,
I'll make the second.
Yes, I would
discussion.
make that its own discussion. Tim.
yes. So the motion is made, the motion is seconded to form this group. And we'll get to your point next, Tim. Is there any discussion on that motion? Justin?
nope, I'm good.
Okay, well, let's move forward with that. Okay, I'll call the vote on that motion. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Justin, are you an aye?
I'm an aye, yes.
Thank you. And that passes. Next would be a motion to discuss the
Purpose?
the purpose, well, I'm trying to think about the right way to word it. If,
Well, actually, they should come up with the purpose.
I don't understand why it just isn't in the first motion, just to define what the actions are what the Finance Commission recommended.
All right, Mr. First, I'll make a motion. I would like to make a motion to create general guidelines for the Economic Development Task Force, which would include to deliver a report back to this Board of Selectmen by July the 1st, establish metrics for the department, established goals for the department, and a methodology how to achieve those goals in the given time frame.
I'll second that.
That's for the economic director position.
The whole department, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, that would affect the Economic Development Commission as well, so they all work in concert together.
So motion, let me just, for point, motion was made, motion's been seconded. Betsy, you have that understanding. Now we're open for discussion. Is anybody want to discuss that motion?
I think we should add, well, I know there's goals, but goals, is that a plan for what the town is looking forward to?
I made it as general as possible so the task force could decide what
Okay,
those are.
They
Right.
can put that together.
And then they can put that together.
Should we have them come back to us before the July 1st date with just a preliminary outline?
I would think
that
so.
we know where we're going with this?
I would think so. I don't know if it has to be in the motion, but I think one of the first things this task force would do, in addition to create the goals, would create their own timeline.
Yeah, they'd have to meet to create, think of, talk, discuss the timeline and what they,
Not only a timeline, though, I'm talking about an outline of what they think. I mean, we have this basic generic metric goals, reporting back to the Board of Selectmen.
well, that's why we put,
No, but I think they should come back to us with, these are the things we're gonna work on.
Right.
So it's not just going off the rails,
right. That's why there's someone from the Board of Finance
and
and,
we should probably put a date on that.
Well, there's two members of our board on there, so I
Okay.
think we kind of just did.
Well,
Okay.
again, tweaking
Yeah.
the eye, I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should really set a date, like, okay,
I don't think we can.
maybe the end of May, they should have something for us.
I don't think they've had enough, I think you would have to have that discussion.
At least an outline.
And they would have to have some discussion of what they feel they could come up with in that period of time.
And maybe they can
So I
report
think
back
that's a
to
little-
us. Maybe they don't have to have a document, but they can come before us and report.
We could have monthly, expect monthly, or, we can ask for updates at every meeting, easy enough.
There we go.
That's all. I think
Board of
that's,
Selectmen-
Similar to our liaison reports.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that would be what-
I think we should include that,
yeah, it'll be part of our liaison reports, which will be,
because July 1st is gonna come quickly, and
Yeah.
if it goes off the rails, then we're gonna have to put it back on the rails to get back in that.
and Justin and I will be
Right.
involved, so we will know, and we'll make the report, those board meetings.
But I think that's important.
Yeah.
Complicated here.
Okay, do we have anything to vote on? I'm catching up with myself here. No.
We have a motion and a second to
discussing right now.
lay out those goals and everything else I said.
Are we gonna lay out those, we're gonna leave it up, so we're discussing it, are we leaving it?
It's exactly what I stated. It's them to put meat on those bones.
Correct,
Right, but to report to the Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen, such as the liaisons.
Yes.
okay.
Got that,
Then-
Betsy?
I'll call the vote,
I'm not talking anymore.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Justin? Are you an aye?
I'm an aye, yes.
Thank you, thank you. Thank
He was
you.
thinking about it.
We appreciate your effort. I mean, I appreciate you being remote and taking the time. I know it's away from your family, and I do appreciate that time. So it passes. Okay. Second on the new business is the discussion of the referral from land use, the 824 referral to sell 34 Lake Mere Drive. There's a, let me get to that. So the resolution resolved the town, that the Southbury Board of Selectmen, upon the recommendation of the Planning Commission, in accordance with Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes, hereby approves the request of Timothy Kuplik to purchase town-owned property as shown as Assessor Map 25B-D-C, subject to the following: that the deed of conveyance be acceptable to the town attorney and contains the notation that this lot becomes part of the current buyer's current property as as a whole and remains as one parcel without consideration of subdivision at any time. That the purchase price for these lots is the assessed value, and that the buyer is responsible for all fees associated with the sale of the property. I think we can have a motion.
Motion to approve the resolution?
Can I have a second?
No, excuse me.
If we're going to discuss it, we have to put it onto the agenda with a second.
Did Jason not make a motion earlier in the meeting to take this off of tonight's agenda?
No, he made a motion.
No, it's on new business.
I made a motion to take it off the consent calendar.
Okay, so.
Which
it's still
is
on
why
the
we're
agenda.
talking about it now.
Okay.
Correct. And motion has been made. Do I have a second to the motion to discuss?
To discuss, yes.
Do I have
I
a,
make the second.
I have a second.
I have a second.
Okay, so now we are in the discussion phase of this piece of property for the purpose of selling it to this individual. Tim?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of it. We received this yesterday. The Planning Commission voted and recommended on the sale of this property on the 15th of this week. This piece of property is directly across the street from the VFW hall. I believe that what this property owner needs to maintain and fix the bridge that was damaged during the flood is a grant from the town for an easement on the driveway and the bridge to allow him to maintain the bridge. I would prefer that we went to our Veterans of Foreign Wars and asked them, given the lack of parking at the VFW hall, give them the option on whether or not they would like the piece of property directly across the street for additional parking.
Okay.
Jeff, I have something. So, is this common practice that we sell property to a resident at assessed value and not,
Yes, at assessed value, because they would be combining it with their lot.
so you wouldn't sell a piece of property at,
We've sold other, like, there's a lot of properties that we sell, like in the Berkshires, but you have to be an adjoining property owner.
so we've done this already? We've done
Yes.
something like this?
But it doesn't necessarily have to be at assessed value. You can come up with a fair market value of any property. Typically, the town does for people that have paper trails that border their property. They'll sell them at assessed value, which is pretty much 70% of market value. I don't believe that this .52 acres is needed for what the homeowner needs to do.
I would just say that, I'm not sure that there's, I don't know for sure. I don't know that there's a rush on this.
I'm sorry?
And I would like to hear, I think it makes sense for somebody to reach out to the VFW and see if they have any interest.
Well, I believe Betsy's actually shaking her head. Yes, there is a rush on it, and I think the rush is, if from what I have seen, when I looked up the piece of property on the multiple listing service, this property is under contract right now, and I don't know if the sale is contingent upon whether or not this piece of property goes along with that property. I just think 2 days is way too soon for us to see it. I think the board should be able to have the opportunity to go down there, look at the property, see whether or not it would benefit the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I don't necessarily think that this homeowner necessarily needs the entire .52 of an acre. Currently, the house sits on .43 of an acre, and I think the whole intent is to get the bridge fixed from the flood damage.
Can I ask another question, Jeff? You might know the answer to this. When planning puts forth a memorandum such as this, do they do their due diligence, or are they required to put a notice in the paper so that people are aware of what's going on?
No,
They don't have to?
no.
So no one else in
It's
the
a
neighborhood knows this is
recommendation.
happening?
It's a recommendation. Legally, we have what they call 8-24 referral that has to go to planning for their input, for planning perspective, anything to do with town property. Doesn't mean that we have to follow that recommendation. It's just that they have no issue with, or making, they have a they make their referral. We make the referral, they made the recommendation.
But we don't contact any of the neighboring properties?
Never
And
have
let them
to.
know?
No, and there's no abutting property owners.
There's none?
No,
Is it, so it's town-owned property right against the road?
yes. So Public Works, they weighed in, I have emails making sure that they were not in need of this property, that the easement, the right-of-way for the roads and everything is what they need, not like we're, giving up what their needs were. They were okay with it. Planning Commission reviewed it, and they're okay with it. And they're referring it to the Board of Selectmen for approval, which is the normal course. And then there would be, pending the town attorney, and those,
So the town attorneys looked at this and it's totally legal? don't
they
have to
would be,
tell
the
anybody?
town attorney, it would need, the whole thing would need to be
Okay.
acceptable by the town attorney from a
Okay,
legal
thank you, Jeff.
standpoint.
There is property, though, that abuts this town property that Aquarian Water owns.
Right, it's Aquarium
It was
Waters,
outside.
No, I know, but you
Yeah.
asked if there was
No, yeah,
property
I'm
that
just
was
asking.
abutting it.
right. Okay, any other discussion on this?
The only discussion I would add, I think I'm sympathetic to what you're saying, Tim, but at the same time, I have to trust that the planning commission did their due diligence. We haven't heard from anyone opposing this resolution. So I guess I'm somewhat hesitant to not approve it,
Well,
hearing no other objections.
There's two other people that have opposed it, myself and Selectman Betty. And the
That is
only
fair.
thing-
I
the
meant
only
from the
thing that-
public.
The only thing that I would like is to pend it until our next meeting and find out whether or not there is an interest from the VFW hall.
Would Selectman Betty be able to give his explanation on delaying the vote?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I think Tim's got some valid points there. And I come from this of a point of, it was probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. The guys at the VFW, and at that time John Turk was still one of them, so that's a while ago, had me come up and price out the property for them because they were thinking about trying to move because they're so constrained as far as the parking goes. They can't have events that are large enough. And they thought it might be, it might make economic sense to sell and try to go find something else. They ultimately decided not to do that, but parking is an issue for those guys.
So we could table this? If that's, I don't know,
We certainly could. If that was the will of the board, we would have to, similar to earlier in the night, withdraw some motions to approve and then make a motion to postpone to the next meeting. All right,
All right.
so in that case, if you can withdraw your second,
Okay, withdraw my second.
I withdraw my motion, and I replace it with a motion to postpone this agenda item till our next meeting.
Appreciate it.
May-
Does-
Wait,
I'll second that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's okay. I'll second that. Discussion on postponing it until the next meeting. If you can also, you can get more information, you can,
Well, I just want to know the path forward. Is it the first selectman that's going to reach out to VFW? or
well,
would
if
it
you've
be a-
already been in communications with them, why don't you?
I haven't been in communication.
Oh, you can go
with
down, okay. Why don't you yeah, if you want.
them. I'd be happy to.
Yeah,
But
sure.
no, I haven't been in communications and just found out yesterday that this was
Okay,
before the board today.
okay.
shouldn't we go to the, planning commission and ask them, about the questions we have? Wouldn't that be the more appropriate route? Than going to talk to VFW? That wouldn't be our place. It would be the planning commission place to go say, okay, listen,
This is an odd spot to be in, that we're actually marketing this.
Yeah, we
we shouldn't do that. We should go to
No,
planning
I
and
would
ask
say we
them.
just postpone it to the next meeting, bring it up as a discussion, and vote on it then.
But we need,
but in the meantime, if the VFW or any other interested party, I guess, we wouldn't just pigeonhole it.
We'll take that under consideration.
I think we should bring this back to planning and tell them what our concerns are and have them handle it instead of us marketing a piece of town property. You running to
I'd say we just
VFW and that doesn't make any
Postpone it,
sense.
the motion is to postpone it to the next meeting,
To what end?
but to,
That's not what the motion is, it's to postpone it.
to
So-
postpone it.
Postpone it, I
Just to
understand that,
postpone it.
which we will talk
So-
about at the next meeting, but
That's what the motion is. So I'll call the vote on that motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. Okay. First Selectmen's report. Registrars have been busy finishing their annual canvassing and preparing for the upcoming referendum for the Town of Southbury budget and the Pompey Regional School District 15 budget. Property owners who are not registered voters in Southbury may vote at the referendum, provided they are U.S. citizens, at least 18 years of age, and own property valued at $1,000 or more, recorded on the Southbury Grand List as of October 1st, 2024. Same-day voter registration and early voting are not available for referendums. All voting will be held at the Firehouse at 461 Main Street South on Wednesday, May 7th, from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. Under animal control, puppies for adoption. I'm not sure if the puppies are not all taken, but I'm not sure, so you have to ask. Animal control currently has 3 coonhound mixed puppies that need loving homes. The puppies are 5 months old and have all been vetted. If you are interested in adopting a new pet, please call Southbury Animal Control Kirsten Cedar at 203-262-0613. I dare not go up there and see these puppies. Taking them all home? Because those are cute dogs. Let me read, I'll give it to you. You want one?
well, Tony does.
There you go.
We're in trouble.
You're gonna take one, might as well take two.
Yeah. Southbury Animal Control and Roxbury Animal Control will be holding a rabies clinic for dogs and cats on Sunday, June 8th, 2025, from 1 till 3 p.m. at the Town of Southbury Garage at 66 Peter Road. To make it convenient for you to license your dogs, the town clerk will also be on site. To find out more information, please visit our website. An animal health and wellness clinic for dogs and cats will take place in July. More details are to come. Another good news, the contracts have been signed for construction on Old Field Road. The project is starting for replacement of the bridge. The Southbury Historical Tree Restoration Committee is sponsoring the Arbor Day celebration on Friday, April 25th. The Arbor Day ceremony will take place at 9:45 a.m. at the Kingsland, which is Mansion House Road, next to the newly planted horse chestnut tree. Come join us to celebrate our 27th consecutive Tree City USA award. We are Tree City USA, 27 consecutive years. And thank you to the Tree Committee, Sudbury Historical Tree Restoration Committee for the efforts to continue that.
Jeff,
Reports, I'm sorry?
don't mean to interrupt you there, but just wanted to ask you about some updates. Over a year ago, there were a number of residents that came to us with a safety issue with the bridle path crossing. Have you heard anything from the state of Connecticut on that?
Nothing from the state.
No?
But it's on their website.
It's
It is on their website?
And now it's closed from Kettletown Road all the way past,
Yeah,
it goes way far.
Did-
because they're
it's still
fixing the whole
closed.
thing.
But specifically, do they say anything about the crossing that these residents are
no, they're
worried
just
about?
saying it's
Um,
They're
closed.
working that into the plan.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
they
once-
are.
Once they're
Yeah.
engineered,
Okay.
everything, and everything's safe,
Yep,
then
good.
they'll talk
Good.
about that.
Good. The other thing, has the first selectman considered anything with the request from the Burma Road residents with the safety issue there on whether or not we can install speed bumps on that
Speed
property?
bumps? We do not put speed bumps on road it's not something we've ever really have done. So I would have to talk with
well-
the chief of police about, they are actively,
There are
patrolling
speed
it.
bumps on Bates Rock Road, and I know there's a
Yep.
number of towns that have speed bumps. And there were a number of people that came in here worried about
Mm-hmm.
the speeds that were happening on Burma Road. And I would hope that we would, as a Board of Selectmen, do something about that. I did notice that there are some flashing speed,
Yep.
slow down signs and everything, which I'm sure is good. I'm not sure how long they've been there, but, I've traveled that road myself, and I think speed bumps are warranted on there.
Jeff, if I may,
and,
there was a woman that contacted me that lived on Burma Road that was here speaking at a public comment, and she wanted advice, and the advice I gave her was to talk to Public Works and the police department. Public Works referred her to the police department as well. They're
Police
doing a
department has-
traffic study, and once that's done, they'll decide
Yep.
what's going on, but they're working on that now, so there is progress being made.
Okay.
okay. And,
Can I jump in? Can I jump in on that for a
Yes.
second?
Justin?
Our
well, are
planning
we gonna make,
commission has an application.
what's that?
Our planning commission now has an application for that pie-shaped piece of property that is in between Route 67 and Burma Road.
Yes,
I just wonder if we couldn't work with the new owner to take that, it's basically a runway, right? It's dead straight, takes you straight out there fast. Maybe we could get a curve put in there, change the alignment of the road so that people have to slow down to make the right, to get on it.
Can you
This
re-
is something
could-
the town's certainly done in the past.
can you reach out to planning on that idea?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Happy to. Yep.
That's what we'll do. Yeah, reach out to the planning commission. Okay,
do.
Ann,
So I had two meetings. I had the library and the EMS. So for the library meeting, Friends of the Library, they said the donations are coming in. They're also now picking up large donations they're getting from the village. They had a pop sale last weekend.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's picking up my voice now.
I'm not sure where that's coming from, or,
They had a pop-up sale at the Parks and Rec, but we haven't had a second meeting, obviously, so we don't know what the numbers were on that sale. I heard there was many people that did attend the pop-up sale. Some unfortunate news is that LISTA, which is a Library Services and Technology Act, it's federally funded, and it's been cut. State of Connecticut receives $2,164,184. And the way you get funding from the state of Connecticut depends on your circulation. Our library had very good circulation, so we did receive some of that grant money. They used it for webinars, they borrowed puppets and supplies. It was for summer reading grants. It was for their delivery system where they borrow books from other libraries. Fortunately, our library has a delivery system company that they pay for, but the company is so overwhelmed, they only do minimal routes. So we'll see what happens. They're trying to get legislators to have the state subsidize this money so that there won't be a deficiency in those grants. But Heather said the head librarian will keep us up to date. The money is also used for other things like free passes that they offer now, and that might not be available any longer. Let's see, they also talked about, technology pods and telephone booth pods. These are soundproof, modular, movable rooms. Some are used for calls, some are used for meetings. They have ventilation systems and safety features. They're glass, so the staff can monitor users, so in case somebody gets ill or something happens in the room, they can see it clearly. And it's an alternate plan for using library space. They're movable. Library staff has gone to other libraries such as New Fairfield, which has the pods already, and they've been looking into them. And they were hoping maybe they can get maybe a telephone or a smaller one for the grand opening of the library, whenever that might be, hopefully in November. Reconstruction of the library, they praise Blake constantly for Public Works and working so hard. They found out that many of the staff members at Public Works are very talented in mechanics and other things, helping save costs, rebuilding things with, so they were talking about that. They were talking about the elevator needs to be replaced. So they're working on getting estimates for that. Dave Richards has also been very helpful, trying to get everything back online and up and running so that when the grand opening is, everything's perfect. And the critical path to reopening is the chillers and the fire alarms right now. Update with FEMA, and Dan Colton have given this report on Monday night, that they denied the cost for the rent of the off-site location. But once the denial letter arrives at Town Hall, Dan Colton assured everyone that the appeal letter will be written, and hopefully, since FEMA had promised that this money was going to be paid for through FEMA, the rent money, that once the appeal's done, they might get paid for that. But we're going to see that. You talked about CLA, Connecticut Library Association. Our library, even with the flood and being at Town Hall and being at a other location, they received the Connecticut Library Association Outstanding Library Award for what they accomplished. It's amazing. The library staff is absolutely incredible. They've accomplished in the time from the floods, or maybe a shorter period of time. I can't say that now, because now I'm not sure if it was a month or if it was 3 months. They made 90 visits to the schools in our town for programs and other activities. And we're very lucky to have the staff for the library. I've got to know them, and they're amazing. So that is my report for the library. More to come next month.
Any end date for that? What we're looking at, an end date?
Maybe November.
November, we should be open by November.
Nice.
And it's gonna be quite a shindig, I hear.
That I have not heard, so you
Well,
must
they're
be here.
planning it,
Oh,
not you.
okay, I've not been included on that
Yeah.
shindig discussion, okay.
Shindig.
I'm always
So
looking
speaking
forward,
of shindigs,
I'm always looking forward to a shindig.
there's always the EMS committee.
Your
And they're
date-
always good for a shindig, if anybody knows that. Well, one of the things in the resolution that the town had created for this EMS committee, as we perused it, well, they've perused it longer than I have, I was just perusing it first time, is that they plan to have an event for the public, whether it be a blood pressure screening or blood draw. We're gonna do it with 0 funds possibly.
Blood donations.
Blood donations or
Okay,
blood
now,
pressure
okay,
screening.
Okay,
But we're gonna work on that and try to come up with a big swing ding.
okay.
They also submitted their annual report, which was very detailed. And so in 2024, there were 4,001 EMS requests for service. 3,389 calls were handled by Southbury Ambulance Association, and 355 calls were handled through mutual aid. I'm not gonna go into all the little details, because we'll be here all night, and we don't wanna do that. No formal complaints were submitted to the EMS committee in 2024 about Southbury Ambulance. They were looking at, and they're gonna review more, performance metrics such as operation efficiency and cost-effective evaluations. They're going to review the communications, training, and public education on the EMS services, increase in EMS committee involvement, especially in budget discussions. So we're gonna have to talk to finance about that. The EMS committee remains committed to supporting the town's emergency medical services through independent review, data analysis, and policy recommendations. We encourage continued collaboration and transparency to ensure high-quality services for Southbury residents. So we meet once a month, obviously, like every other group. It's amazing that we have such a fine asset such as Southbury Ambulance Association, in my opinion. I'm proud to be part of this group. I'm glad I was chosen to help them. They were talking at our last meeting also about using QR codes for the EMS surveys that they do now. This would be a little easier for people, maybe if they were to have a QR code in their surveys.
Seems like QR codes are the latest and greatest, like, really coming around.
They are. I could show you how to use them if you'd like.
No, I know how to use them.
They're working on their bylaws now and their resolutions. So for March 2025, I think this is incredible. They had 1,040 calls just in March. 197 were no transport. And I asked this question, no transport, why aren't we transporting them? This is for general weakness, and the reason I'm going to explain this is you'll see in a minute. General weakness, refusal, or falls. Falls were the number one. When Heritage Village had their ambulance service, the percentage of falls was 48%. It is down now to 20% due to education, which I think is incredible. You have Geraldine reaching out to people, Geraldine, she calls people that fall and give them advice. Pomperaug Health Valley District and our fire marshal are working in conjunction for, called Steps for Safety, which I found out was started by Tim Baldwin at the fire department. And the Pomperaug Health District, if people call and they have a problem and with falling or they're uneasy and they don't know what to do, how they can keep themselves safe, if they call the Pomperaug Health Districts, they will come into their homes and do one-on-one help. So I think that's pretty incredible that our health district will do that. So education is the key. I think we have a wonderful service in town, and that's all I can say is wonderful.
Thank you.
But I thank you.
Selectman Betty,
Economic Development did meet last night, but I was not able to attend. I'll give you guys an update at our next meeting. IPOC has not met since our last meeting. Pool Oversight has not met since our last meeting. However, we did get an emailed update from the finance director that the gutters are in, and we are on schedule. And that's all I got.
thank you. Selectman O'Neill,
Yeah, the Conservation Commission had a special meeting on April 8th to discuss a Hemlock Woods subdivision, piece of property that is donated or planned to be donated by a Southbury resident on 525 Burr Road and Rocky Mountain Road. It's the recommendation of the Planning Commission that the open space be accepted with modifications. The following modifications: the open space shall be in fee to the proposed owner of the parcel. The pond is considered as part of the package, and with the defined deed as to the rights of the pond shall be shared. It's preferred that the property line go to and include the water's edge on the east side of the pond that abuts the open space. Park and Recs did meet April 10th. There was discussion on the pool meeting and schedule, also the grand opening date for Settlers Park for the pool, and discussion on Settlers Park gazebo. There's a fundraiser at the Woodbury Brewing for alterations to Settlers Park gazebo. The summer concerts are now going to be at that gazebo at Settlers Park. And also they had a discussion on the splash pad. Community Relations, they meet, they have a roundtable meeting on April 23rd. And the members of the Community Relations Task Force, Terry Sullivan, Colette Mambo, and Sean Guerin, along with a Pompey High School student, Stevie Bennett, do wonderful work there. Going to be a power presentation. There's guest speakers, Harold Bailey from Team Westport and Wendy Bernard from the Bernard Law Firm here in Southbury, along with a Southbury clergy member. That they will be speaking on diversity and inclusion. And some Pompey High School students will also have a report on school initiatives. The roundtable meeting, it's an interactive meeting, and it shares ideas and discusses important issues, and they collaborate with one another. It's to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's designed to welcome all races, creeds, faiths, and it aims at an open society, welcoming people of all backgrounds, beliefs, and they're committed to diversity and the respect for different cultures and religions. It's a really good meeting. If people can make it, it's open to the public. Again, it's April 23rd, and it's here in this room.
What time?
7 o'clock, I believe.
Everything starts at 7.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Jason?
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Through you, two of my committees have met since the last meeting, the first of which was the Energy Task Force. The bulk of the discussion was, again, surrounding the transfer station and the potentials for some photovoltaic opportunities there. They indicated that they're working through the First Selectman's office and with the town attorney to clean up some language in the most recent RFP and to and working with Public Works to determine what if might be done to do some capping there to get that station up and functioning. They still have a goal of getting into an energy auction for this year, but a number of dominoes have to fall into place before that happens. The second, it's my bi-weekly report that the Charter Revision Commission met, and we are actually approaching. We probably have 2 more meetings left of this commission. The chairman is looking to schedule the second of our statutorily required public hearings for most likely the first week of June. After that, it wraps up its report and pitches it over to us, where we will take a look at their recommendations, and then the clock starts ticking to see what we might be able to get onto the ballot for this November.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, everybody have a good Easter weekend.
Yes, happy Easter.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And we're adjourned.
Aye. Have a good one.